Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be going over how to assemble these beautiful roses and wrap them in brown paper and tissue paper. So I hope y'all enjoy. So this rose pattern, I will have it linked below, and then for the sepia, which is the green part underneath, I came up with my own pattern. So first I'm going to be going over how to make that, and then we will get into how to assemble everything. So if you want to skip to the actual assembly part, I will put the time up on the screen to skip to, or have chapters in the description below so you can check that out. Alright, so to make your sepia, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, you're going to need worsted weight green yarn, scissors, and a 4mm hook. At least that's what I use. Use whatever size you used for the rose itself. 4mm works great for me. Okay, so first you're going to do a magic circle, and to do that you're going to take your yarn, hold it with your pinky finger, and then wrap it around these two fingers, wrap it around again, and then hold it between your pinky finger and your ring finger just like that. Then you're going to go ahead, insert your hook underneath that piece, grab the piece with the long tail, and pull it under, just like that. You should have a loop. This is what it looks like from all positions. And then you're going to go ahead and wrap the yarn around your hook again, and then pull it through. This is a chain, so there is your chain, and there is your magic ring. Make sure to hold it pretty tightly, still with your ring finger and pinky finger, okay? Now you're going to do 6 half double crochets into the magic ring. So to do a half double crochet, you're going to go ahead and yarn over, and then you're going to slide your hook underneath the circle, and then you're going to grab your working yarn again, bring it up, and you should have 3 loops on the hook, and here's it from all positions. Then you're going to go ahead, yarn over again, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Of course I mess up when I try to film it, but there is your first half double crochet. You'll see a little V at the top. That is your first stitch. So you're going to go ahead and do 5 more of these in your magic ring. 3, 4, 5, and you can go ahead and count the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you have 6 half double crochets in your magic ring, go ahead and slide it off your fingers like this, and then grab the tail end, hold on to the stitches that you have, and then pull your yarn. Don't pull it too tight because you do want a little bit of this space so you can get it over the dowel later. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first stitch that you have. So just count and make sure that you have 6 stitches. So if you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to slip stitch into that first stitch. So to slip stitch, just insert your hook, grab your yarn, and then pull through without yarning over. That is a slip stitch. Now you're going to go ahead and chain 1, and then you're going to do 2 half double crochets in every stitch. So by the end of the row you should have 12 stitches. You're going to go ahead and skip this stitch where you chained and slip stitch into. So go into this next stitch, work 2 half double crochets. This is called a half double crochet increase. So you should have 2 half double crochets in 1 stitch. Go ahead and repeat that all the way around until you have 12. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then that is a completed row. You're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch again, so this stitch right here. Insert your hook, slip stitch, and now you're going to go ahead and chain 6. We're going to be working the little spiky parts, these parts right here. Alright, so chain 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this part can be a little bit tricky, but if you work at it you can get it. So into your second chain from your hook, let me take my hook out, this is your first chain right here, and then this is your second chain. They're little V's, and if you count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 V's. You're going to slip stitch into the second V from your hook. So insert your hook, grab up your yarn, and then pull it through. And then into the next V, you're going to work a single crochet, which is the same as a slip stitch, but you stop right before you pull through both loops, and you yarn over and pull through 2. Now, if you work amigurumi, which is crocheting plushies, like this, the single crochet is the stitch that you will use the most. So that's a really good one to learn if you're a beginner. Okay, back to what we're doing. Into your next stitch, you're going to work a half double crochet, which we've already learned how to do. So half double crochet, and then into the next 2 stitches, you're going to work a double crochet into each stitch. To do a double crochet, start it like a half double crochet, and then once you have the 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 of the loops. This can be a little bit tricky, but just work at it until you get it right. This is another important stitch. So pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. And that is a double crochet. So you're going to do 1 more into the last stitch, and there is your first spike. Okay? Next, you're going to go ahead, skip 1 stitch, and slip stitch into the second stitch. So skip 1, and go into the next, and slip stitch. And then you're just going to repeat this process all the way around. You should have 6 at the end. So go ahead and chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slip stitch into the second chain, then a single crochet, then a half double crochet, and then a double crochet, and 1 last double crochet, and then you're going to skip a stitch. So if you look closely, this stitch right here does not count as a stitch. It's the next stitch that remains unworked. So skip that stitch and then go into the second stitch, slip stitch, and then repeat. So 3, 4, 5, 6, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. And then we're going to go ahead and skip a stitch, slip stitch, and by this point you should have it. If not, you can always back up the video and repeat the same steps followed all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to work for the remaining 3, and I will meet y'all back when it's done. Alright, I just reached the end of my work, and you should have 6 at this point. Go ahead and count and make sure. And to fasten off, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to cut a pretty short tail, and then pull your yarn through, and then tug on it a little bit. And now you're going to go ahead and lightly weave in your ends. So to do this, just insert your hook into one of the stitches that's loose, bring your yarn through close to the middle, and then lightly tie a knot. You don't want to cinch this middle portion where you see a little hole right there. You don't want to cinch that completely closed, because later when we insert the dowel into it, you're going to want a little bit of space there. So go ahead and just lightly tie a double knot. And then you can go ahead and trim your tails. And there is your finished sepia. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and assemble our rose. So at this point you should have this piece already made from the tutorial below, and you should have these 2 small ends right here. Go ahead and tie those into a loose double knot. Don't tie them too tightly or you will cinch this corner up weird. And then go ahead and trim your ends again. Alright, now for this part you're going to need your hot glue gun, a dowel, your rose, your sepia, and some more of your green yarn. So for the first part of it, you're going to need your dowel and your hot glue. So this part can be a little bit dangerous, so if you are a child, please have adult supervision. Alright, so go ahead and let me zoom y'all in so you can see a little bit better. Alright, so go ahead and do a small line of hot glue right at the edge. This is going to be on the side where you have cut your yarn. And then put your dowel down and kind of roll it in the hot glue until you feel the glue start to harden, and then roll it a little bit. And then hold it. And now you're going to go ahead, grab your hot glue, do a small line on the top, portion where it meets the stick and continue to wrap it around. Every once in a while, you're going to continue doing the hot glue up to the edge, but every once in a while you're going to want to add a little bit down further so you can get it securely fastened. And be careful not to burn your fingers because the hot glue can seep through these holes, and believe me, it hurts. So just go ahead and attach the hot glue just like that. Keep on wrapping it. Keep a good tension on it, but don't wrap it too tightly or your rose won't look full enough. So just wrap it all the way around and wait when you get to the end. I'm going to show you how to do the end seamlessly. So once you reach the end a little bit more, don't do as long as bits so you don't accidentally over put glue on. And then once you see yourself coming to the end, kind of stretch your rose over, hold it there just for a second, and then you're going to, under the last little petal of your rose, add some more hot glue, because this part needs to be very secure. Add some hot glue, and then gently press that down and hold it until it cools a little bit. Alright, once it's cooled, you're going to go ahead and take your sepia and your yarn. So this part is a little bit different than I've ever seen anyone else do it. I'm going to zoom it out a little bit. You're going to need your crochet hook for this part. So go ahead and grab your sepia and you will see a nice side and a wrong side. So the wrong side, you can see it looks a little bit rougher. The stitches aren't as defined, and then on the right side you can see the beautifully defined stitches. You're going to go ahead and grab your yarn and your crochet hook, and you are going to flip it over to where it's the wrong side facing up. Stick your crochet hook into the middle of it where you didn't tighten the hole completely, and then grab your green yarn and pull it through this hook, the hole. And then you should have a tail, so your good side should have the long end of the tail, and then the bad side should have the short end of the tail. I'm going to show you what to do with that now. Alright, so now you're going to go ahead and put a lot of hot glue on the flat spot of your rose where it is in this kind of spirally direction. So go ahead and put hot glue there. Just like that. And then you're going to go ahead and grab your sepia, and then right side facing up, you're going to stick it into the skewer. Make sure that your tail is still coming out of the bottom, and then you're going to go ahead and lower it onto the hot glue. Make sure that that tail is in there securely. You want that tail to be nice and secure. Press it down firmly. And once it's cooled just a little bit, you'll be able to now glue the rest of the sepia down. If you like it this way better, you can of course leave it like this, but I like the sepia to be up against the rose a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is grab the hot glue, add just a small bit of hot glue, and then pull the sepia petal down and gently tap it on the hot glue all the way around, so for all 6 of them. Make sure that you don't add more hot glue than the sepia is long, or it will start to look really messy. So just keep attaching that all the way down. Make sure to be careful because it is very hot. I just burnt myself. Alright, keep going. So for all 6 of the petals to fasten it down. And like I said, you do not have to do this part. I just prefer the look of this better. Alright. And now they are all carefully glued down. You're going to go ahead and start wrapping the stem of this. And now to do this, you're going to take your hot glue gun and then do the slightest amount of hot glue right at the end. So put just a little bit on it and kind of rub it along. I don't know if you can see that, but just a small amount of hot glue. And then you're going to go ahead, hold your working yarn in this hand, and then spin your rose with your other hand, making sure to cover the whole skewer with your yarn. And then once you get past the hot glue part, this is the fun part, you can go really fast, although I would warn you on the hot glue parts to go slow because that part you can't shift. Let me show you. So go ahead and start spinning your rows, and I'm going to purposefully do this so you see how they're far apart. You can just slide that up and continue. But as you do more of these roses, you'll find it easier and easier to keep the green yarn from shifting. So just go ahead and do this all the way down, but wait about an inch from the end and I'll show you what to do then. So when it gets hard to spin from the other direction, you can just flip the rows and do it this way. So just keep spinning it all the way down. Alright, and now we're pretty close to the end here, so keeping a good tension on this yarn here, you don't want it to unravel. So keeping a good tension on it, you're going to do the same thing that you did at the top and add some hot glue at the bottom here. Make sure to spread it around so it's not as thick. And then you're going to carefully add the last bit. Make sure that you're getting no gaps in the yarn and wood, wrapping it all the way down. And as you get towards the end, you may notice that your yarn slides off a little bit. Let that happen. So you saw that just slid off. And then trim very close to the edge. Cut that. And then you're going to grab your hot glue gun. This is a really fun part. So just taking your hot glue gun, don't squeeze the trigger or anything. Hold it to where you're not squeezing the trigger. And just slide the hot barrel across the yarn and down a little bit. This will melt some of the fibers. There's some hot glue on there that will get them melted, and this is a very secure way of ending off your rows. And there you have it. Your rose is completely assembled, beautiful, and very sturdy as well. Now it's time to wrap it. Alright, to wrap your rose, you're going to need a few materials. So you're going to need some white yarn or whatever yarn you want to make the bow with. Some brown paper. I just got this roll from the thrift store. You can find this at Dollar Tree and Walmart. Even wrapping paper would work good. Just whatever you can get that's on hand. And then you're going to need some sort of tissue paper. So I also got this tissue paper from Dollar Tree. So get off one large sheet and then fold it in half. And then fold that half in half. And then with your scissors, go ahead and cut that into the 4 pieces. Alright, once you've done that, go ahead and just take one of those pieces and you're going to go ahead and prep the white piece. So to do this, you're going to fold it like an accordion. So fold over about either 1/2 inch to 1 inch of the tissue paper. Fold it and then flip your paper over and then fold it that same width, so back and forth. It should create kind of an accordion. Let me show you. So if you unfold it gently, you'll see there's kind of an accordion shape to it. So you're going to want to continue that all the way down the piece of paper. And depending on the size of your rose and bouquet, you may want to cut this piece shorter or longer, depending on how big it is. For this single rose, I think I'm going to use this whole piece. If not, I may cut off a little bit of it. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop there and cut off the rest. This, as I said though, totally depends on the size of whatever bouquet you're doing. Alright, now that I have that part, I am going to set that to the side, grab my brown paper, and then you're just going to need a very short piece of this. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this because I am very curious about how much of this I use. So I'm going to use 6 inches of paper, and this is also 12 inches tall. So you're going to cut a 6 by 12 inch piece. At least that is what I'm using for mine. And don't unplug your hot glue gun just yet. We're going to need it for this part too. Alright, now that you have that, go ahead and place your accordion sheet on top. And then you're going to go ahead and grab your rose and place that on top of the accordion sheet. This is what it should look like at this point. Now is the tricky part. I do not like doing this part because I'm always scared that I'm going to rip the paper, but I believe in you. You've got this. So you're going to take your yarn, get that ready, and then you're going to take and halfway down your rose, you're going to bring it in and pinch at the middle. Don't worry about looks just yet. We will arrange it better in a moment. You're going to want to make sure that you have some overlap of the brown paper and white paper because you don't want to actually glue the rose in unless you're worried about security, and then you can go ahead and do that. But I just like to have it like this to where people can take the rose out later if they want to. Now you can go ahead and arrange the piece of paper around it. Holding tightly with your thumb, make sure to crimp that middle piece where when you let go, just like that, it should go back to a similar shape. Now it's the tricky part. This is where I burn myself quite a lot when using hot glue. Hold down a little bit further from where you have pinched. Take your hot glue and do a small line of hot glue around it. Then you're going to grab your yarn and leaving like a 9-inch tail on this side, you're going to go ahead and hold this. And you're going to wrap around your rose piece until you see the hot glue disappear. You don't want any of the hot glue showing. So for me it was about 4 times. Go ahead and press down on that just to make sure it's good, and then cut a longish tail. Now you should have 2 tails of yarn, and they both should be kind of like this. So you're going to wrap this piece around and this piece around, and then you're going to tie a double knot in your yarn. This is for extra security. I don't want the bow to come out, so double knot, and then tie a simple bow in it. I just do this bow. I know it's really simple, but it works for me. So there is that. You can, of course, add different bows to this as you see fit. I just do the simple one because I want the rose to shine. Trim your yarn tails, and there you have it. There is your rose all wrapped and perfect. And I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. If so, please like and comment below what you'd like to see from me next. I'm hoping to do more tutorials like this, maybe some actual plushie tutorials, but I really wanted to show y'all my full process of how to make these roses. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!